So imagine you've got a peanut. Of course, a peanut has an outer shell, but once you start sort of hammering into the peanut and sort of burrowing and discovering the peanut in its hole and who the peanut really is, and as you start exploring the peanut deeper and further, you realize there is an inner part to the peanut, which is the nut itself. And of course, with the nut, you can mash that into peanut butter, or you can eat it just as a nut. But some people are allergic to the peanut, and so we have to think: what if the peanut had a second outer shell in between the outer shell and the inner nut, the inner shell? And to me, that's like the perfect analogy of sexism. That sort of visually sums up the whole issue surrounding sexism. Another good way to look at it is, just say you have a tower, right? And on the 52nd floor of that tower, there's a little panda bear waving to you through the window, and his name is Sexism. And then on the 104th floor, the top floor, you look up and there's another bear, and it's a polar bear, and he's popping his head through the window like he's coming out of the womb. He's just, yeah, and he's waving down at you, and you're waving back at him from down on the street, and he's waving back at you, and he's smiling. And this bear's name is the New Worlds. And to get around the issue of sexism and to sort of pass that in our lives, we as a society, as a community, we need to take the elevator all the way up, past the bears, past the 52nd floor. We need to ride that elevator all the way up to the 105th floor. For example, and here's the problem with sexism. If my friend David is talking to a young man, and they're getting along great, and their eyes meet, and they partake in a kiss, just a firm, open-mouthed kiss with tongue, but David then ignores this young man's lady friend, David is then being sexist, and he could be looking at 2 to 3 nights in prison. Best case scenario, David's going to be in a cell with my dad, and the two are going to find love together. Worst case scenario, he's going to be in there with Lindsay Lohan, because she's got another DUI, and he's going to have to put up with that until her expensive lawyers pay bail, and that could be several hours, and that's just something he's going to have to go through, and he's going to have to go through that alone if you don't count Lindsay Lohan. And really, sexism is such a big issue that it's always been here. If you look back at the Bible and the early days, you'll see that it all started with a man and a woman, and God, who's a little bit of a man and a little bit of a woman, possibly the only non-sexist one here. And this biblical beginning really seeps through the cracks of our modern-day society. And when you examine, social behaviour, it's really apparent. For example, if I kill my dad, I'm going to be charged with murder, and I'm looking at a lifetime in prison. Or if I'm in the right state or the right place, I could be looking at the death penalty. However, if I kill my mum, that's sexism, and I'm looking at quite a different punishment. I'm looking at a more Lindsay Lohan couple in nights situation, and I think we can really utilize that, and we can sort of take advantage of that and see where that leads us through the jungle, so to speak, and maybe we'll discover a hidden world. I think sexism wouldn't be such a big problem if we all just started to see things from their perspective. Just imagine it's your first day of college and you've already got one friend, and his name is Paul, but Paul is a member of the Ku Klux Klan. And here we can sort of see how problems are beginning to arise, and you have to start to consider this, and then I think everyone can start to move on and overcome sexism. So there you have it. That's my thoughts on sexism. That's how I think we can all overcome that. And I'm going to finish with another joke. Why did the girl tiptoe past the medicine cabinet?